If somebody is in a family crisis, what do you want them to hear?
That they're not alone,
Mm,
that that there's a way out, you know, and to know that there's somebody out there that's going through it, probably the same thing you are, and to reach out for help, especially with, the loss that we have with the suicide rate being high, with the mental illness, with the
a lot of women are told not to talk, not to say anything, don't tell anybody. So they keep a lot of things to themselves and then live in fear.
right.
And you can't really do anything logical sitting in fear.
Hi, welcome to Say More Words, a podcast that was created to emphasize the human experience through stories. I hope that you come here to learn, to expand, and most importantly, learn how to say more words. Speak your story, speak your truth, boo boo. We're so happy you're here.
All right, welcome back to Say More Words. I am so excited to have my friend Leslie here. Leslie Barrows is a Texas family law attorney, certified mediator, and longtime South Lake resident with nearly 20 years of experience advocating for families and children. We're going to talk about it. She's a small business owner, community leader, and a mom of 3 boys who is deeply committed to service and strong families. I personally love Leslie. We met. Leslie's one of my friends, very similar to, if you guys remember the episode when I did with Brad.
Mhm.
We were friends online before we were friends
Yes.
in person, before we had even met in person. And I just love how strong she is, how she shows up for her community. There's going to be some stories that we have today that I'm going to ask her to tell, just the heart that she has, because family law attorneys get a bad rap a lot of times.
They do.
They do. And she is just so good as a person, as a lawyer. She is good. So I'm excited to have her here today for you all to get to meet her. Leslie, before I have you say wonderful things about yourself, what's the song of the day?
I think the song of the day would be Welcome to the Jungle. It's pretty appropriate. I mean, I went to high school in the 90s.
Yeah.
I had the old poster of Axl Rose on my, in my bedroom. And I remember if my grandparents ever came, they were like, what is going on in here? Like all the circus magazine
Yeah.
posters were all over my bedroom. And I'm thinking, well, then don't sleep there because I'm getting kicked out of my bedroom anyway.
Right, yeah, find somewhere
So
else.
I'm so excited to be here. And Welcome to the Jungle. I've seen Guns N' Roses a ton of times, and then I've even got tickets for this coming year. So I'm gonna take our boys too. I think
Yeah.
so.
Ow.
And my husband's a huge heavy metal '90s fan too. So we just love we love our Hair Nation on Sirius XM. We love our we love our metal. We love our Metallica.
Yes, I love Metallica.
My husband's a big Black Crowes fan.
Oh, yeah.
Them, and I think they're going to open, and I think Black Crowes are going to open for Guns N' Roses at the Arlington show. So,
Really?
but we'll have to see. Yep.
Oh, when is that show?
I think in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, either August or September.
I need to look.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I keep saying I want to see these artists now before they're just sitting on a stool doing it. Like I want to see them while they're still Guns N' Roses, while they're still Metallica, not when they're fighting for their lives.
Correct. Yep. And so it's a great time. And I think the last time I saw Axl Rose, though, you could totally tell he was going to the side of the stage and getting oxygen or something. I mean, something was going on for sure because there's a tent and then he goes off stage and then he comes back. So something's going on in that tent. Yeah. We're not sure. I'm thinking it's oxygen, but not sure.
I love it. Well, Leslie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was raised in Dallas. I'm an only child to my sweet parents who they're no longer with us, but we were a really close knit family, and they have a cool story because they met in Michigan and then went to Florida. My dad did he worked as a carpenter in Florida, and then he ended up moving to Mesquite, Texas. So that's where they ended up living, and I was raised in in the East Dallas area. So and then just going through I always wanted to go to public school, and my parents were like, "No, you're not going to public school. You're going to private school. We live in Dallas County." And I go, "I don't know. I'm fine. I'll go to Gaston Junior High behind our house, and I'll go to Bryan Adams High School." And they were like, "No, you're going to go to private school here in Dallas." And so I graduated from Episcopal School of Dallas in '92. So it was, that's before we didn't have football. So yeah, we didn't have football then, but now I guess we have football.
Yeah.
And then I was in college at Sam Houston, and my parents said, "Hey, we're tired of our house getting broken into. We're going to move to Southlake." And I go, "Where's that?" And so I was so hurt because I have to drive to go see my friends in Dallas now. So, but since '94, we've been in the Southlake area, and then that's where I went, and then I went to law school in Oklahoma City. It's a private law school. Went there, finished up, and then met my husband in Southlake.
Yeah.
So and then
Came
we
back.
I ended up in Southlake again. Yep. Yep.
It's a great community to live in.
It is.
Yeah.
And I love it. And then it's, being a small business owner, we get to meet so many other, people out there that are building businesses and then giving back to communities. And we have such a huge support here in our Metroplex too, where they're willing to give to charities, so you don't really see that in a lot of other communities. So
yeah, when I just went home this past weekend and was talking about with somebody that I was working with, I'm like, "Oh, well, I have this charity event and this charity event and this charity event and then that charity event." And it's event season for the charities. She just looked at me. She goes, "Really?" And I'm like, yeah.
Like a lot.
There's a lot. What are we supposed to do with money if not help serve the people?
Right. We give it back. We make it and then we give it back, right?
Yep, just give it right back. Fix all the people. I love it. Okay, so more on the personal side before we start talking professionally. What is something about you that would surprise people who know you professionally?
I am a huge advocate for women, and when I was in college, I got involved in, we called it rape crisis counselor back then. So I got involved in helping ladies that were in safe houses. So I would go volunteer in the safe house where, it's an undisclosed location. So I did that. And I walked, side by side with ladies who had been, sexually assaulted, which we didn't call it that
It didn't have a term.
Yeah. I mean, it was rape, unfortunately. That's a terrible term. But I was just passionate about that, and that was kind of my calling back in college, and that's what I did. And then it kind of bled over into, okay, well, now I'll help ladies do protective orders, and then I did that in law school. So it was fun. It was high emotion, and then you also kind of learn too that people don't always tell you the truth. So sometimes people will that I worked with, it ended up being a lie. Like it was, they were setting up their spouse or their boyfriend. Yeah. And so that's the worst, because you want, as a Christian, you want to believe everyone that tells you their story, and because a lot of them are pretty good storytellers, but you still have to know, that sometimes people maybe embellish the truth, So
in their own, and sometimes one of the things, especially in the work that I do, like sometimes it's the benefit of the doubt for them too, because their reality is so construed by like a lot of them have mental health issues and things, and it's when it comes to that world, it's very complex.
And I'm a strong advocate for mental health patients. I've been doing that since probably over 20 years. I've been on the list to serve patients that are in our hospitals, and so people. So I'm kind of the go-to person in our area of, if you have somebody who has been involuntary committed, into a hospital, Leslie Barrows, can you make some calls? Can you figure out what's going on to help this, relative or friend get out?
Yeah.
So, and I've been glad to do that because, and that the mental health part of it, I was really close to my aunt when I was growing up. And I remember she had a breakdown when I was a junior in high school, and I didn't know what schizophrenia was.
Mm.
And it was the weirdest thing because she was like my person. My parents really never. I didn't have a babysitter because they just were like, I'm all into my kid, and then they work all the time.
Yeah.
And so if I did have, if my parents did go out on a date, it was usually, you're going to go stay with your Aunt Marty.
Yeah.
Well, I remember vividly like that all going down where she came into our house, thought something was coming through the couch. I mean, thought the CIA was after her.
Oh.
And that was just a really eye-opening experience for me. And so that's developed into, hey, helping out people with mental illness because I mean, they're not really born like that. Or
No.
maybe some people have a mental breakdown or something happens, and that's what happened with my aunt. And now I'm still the caregiver for her because she and it was a difficult road. Like she tried to live with us after that, and then she would call the ambulance, call the cops all the time, and
Ugh.
take herself to the hospital, self medicate. I mean, it was a bit.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey for sure. And so with Aunt Marty, I'm still taking care of her, and she's in a nursing home and close by.
She's one of my favorite stories online.
Yep,
The
chain
amp.
smoker.
Yeah.
Yep, Winston 100 Golds. She loves those and Diet Cokes.
Yeah.
Yep, that's her thing.
That's her thing. Those are my. I wait for those stories. Those stories and
Yep.
the stories with your uncle.
Yep.
Like.
And then Uncle Jeff, I have him too, and his thing is he just wants to visit his dog every weekend, and then he thinks he can move back into his home. And I said, no, Uncle Jeff, you have Alzheimer's and you can't take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And then that goes out one ear, and then the next day it's okay. Well, can you bring me some Old Spice cologne? I bought my first bottle of Old Spice cologne. I go, well, what kind of cologne do you want, Uncle Jeff? And he says, Old Spice. And so I was like, I don't even know.
I don't even know what
Yeah,
scent.
I remember, I think I was like, I thought that was cool when Eckerd's was still open,
Right.
but I don't know. But Walmart does have Old Spice
Really?
cologne, so I had that delivered to him through Walmart. So
That's amazing.
so that's Uncle Jeff. There's
Uncle
always
Jeff.
something.
There's always something. There is. I love it. So, can you tell me a little bit about, because I have many friends who are lawyers, and I asked all of them the same question. Why did you choose the path you chose?
I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I go, I'm going to do criminal law. I think it looks so cool.
Yeah.
On TV. And when I was at Sam Houston, my minor was criminal justice and my major was English. And I remember I was really big into going and touring the prisons there. And then I interned for some defense attorneys and back then. And I think, and they're retired now, but they kept saying, Leslie, you're too nice to be in criminal law. You don't want to do that. And so I go, no, I do. And I want to get the experience and I want to, work on trials and I like all this stuff. And then I just kept going back to family law. It was like, and then I was helping someone with a criminal case. And then it's like, oh, my girlfriend got pregnant. And then do you think you can help me with the case? Because now we're breaking up. So then it just all transitioned into doing criminal and the juvenile stuff I was doing, then it transitioned into family law.
I love it.
And then once I had kids, I was like, family law is my jam because I didn't have to prepare for trials on the weekends. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because you would you'd be getting ready for, a DWI jury trial on, you'd be picking a jury on Friday, then you would be, then you'd start your testimony on Monday. So the whole weekend it would be blown. And then with having our son, and then the twins, I was like, I can't do this.
No, I can't. There's no time.
Yeah. And then the daycare is so.
Yeah.
But I've been blessed with having an amazing nanny who's just a part of our lives. And so
that's the best.
Yeah.
That's people ask me all the time, how do you do it all? Because I'm traveling and I have, we have careers. We're women with careers. Like, how do you do it all? I'm like, I don't.
Right. No, it takes a village.
A whole village.
I remember when I told someone I think I told my dad, hey, we're having twins. And he's like, well, it takes a village. So we're all in,
Yeah.
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 It does, though.
It does. It really does. So tell me, what is the most misunderstood? Because there's certain attorneys that are lawyers where you say like, oh, I'm this kind of lawyer, and people go, ugh. And family law sometimes has that rep because of divorce and hard cases and things like that. So, what would you say is the most misunderstood thing about family
About
attorneys?
family attorneys? I think it's probably family attorneys that in order to get the sale or be able to get the client, they promise that they're going to perform at a certain level because maybe they don't have experience in that courtroom. And because all the judges, I mean, I say I have 20 over 20 bosses because I practice in Tarrant and Denton, and all the judges are different.
Yeah.
So that's one of the deals is I think that I don't know if it's a lack of experience or they're just trying to, because we are small business owners. We do not work for free. I mean,
No,
and then some people do get mad if, hey, you run out of money, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go find someone else or represent yourself. So that happens a lot with these cases, because they can go on for years.
Mm-hmm.
So it just financially drains people. And then, I mean, I love that, people want it. They always say, well, I would rather give my kids, this for college. Well, then, be more reasonable.
Right.
Yeah,
you two figure it out.
Figure it out on your own. Yeah.
I'm not doing this. Y'all are doing this.
Right. Right. I'm like, I didn't, and I tell people too, I'm like, I didn't create the mess that you guys made. I'm just trying to get it to where fix it and then get you guys moving down the road,
Yeah. So what do you wish clients understood? I guess more about, I mean, not even that. I had a question, but it's more,
well, I think it's a business transaction. And that's why I tell people, because I'm not your therapist. My paralegals are not your therapist. And I love mental health professionals. And I always talk about this with mental health. I think if anything good came out of COVID, it was that you can have a virtual session with a therapist at any time, take your lunch break, do what you need to do, and get someone that you can talk to, that you can have that interchange with, because I'm not going to be able to support you on that. Plus, you're not going to be able to pay me, and I'm not a licensed therapist.
Yeah. I can't tell you what to do.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. I know a lot. I've heard a lot. I can tell you strategy. I can tell you, well, the judge isn't going to give you that. The judge doesn't care that, you're so-and-so's cheating. The big thing too is a lot of people now with social media, I feel that they will go and stalk, the other spouse, and that just gets in their head. Especially like the people that do the private investigators, and then they see everything and they track if who's going to what hotel room are they going, or at lunch. They're supposed to be at work and they're at, lunch for a really long period of time. That stuff just gets in your head, and you can't, like Mel Robbins said with her, just don't give it, let them be, then let them, and don't let them in your headspace, because it just makes people go cuckoo. And that's when you see you see that a lot with, family violence, that they're in the middle of a divorce, or the divorce is over, or they're fighting about the kids, they're in a modification, and then someone goes and takes them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
yeah. I mean,
it's scary.
That was my family's experience, where my parents were getting divorced, and my dad went into a really dark place.
Yeah.
And did a very, very bad thing.
Yeah.
But in his mind, I'm losing my kids.
Right.
If I'm losing my kids, I'm going to risk it all to keep my kids.
Yeah.
And then, then we lost everything. But
loss of control.
Loss of control.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a huge thing. I mean, I really do wish it could be like, yes, we can file for divorce for you, but also here are a list of therapists.
Yeah.
Do that.
Well,
for you and your people.
Well, some people have personality disorders where you can't fix that.
That's true.
And then you have to look at too. I always ask people, well, have you been married before, or what was your relationship with your parents? And then what about your husband?
Yeah.
Well, you're on your fourth marriage. Well, what happened with the other marriages before? And
let's look at the patterns.
Yeah, let's look at the patterns.
Yeah,
the pattern of behavior.
So, what do you think? What do you wish that people would address earlier to avoid all of this, to avoid the chaos, to avoid the fighting, the years? Because I've seen people get divorced in a couple of months, and I know some people who have been in divorce proceedings for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think a lot of times though, the marriage is already bad. Like the relationship, I'm a true believer in the covenant of marriage that, when you say I do, this is like your person and this is who you're going to be with forever. But I also understand when people make that decision and they say I do forever, but then they're like, this person has changed. Like, this is not the person that I married. These are the behaviors. Maybe there was been a job loss, and then maybe start drinking again, or people with addiction and drugs and porn addictions, gambling addictions. So all those kind of things start coming in because I think they're just in the relationship longer.
Yeah.
And they're not working on it. Yeah. And I tell people, I always ask them, have you been to counseling and have you exhausted all of your resources? Have you, if you're in church, have you gone to your priest? Have you gone to the Christian counselor? Have you gotten your own session? Do you think your kids need, I love mental health professionals, because they can get you through a lot of stuff. And I always make sure that people have exhausted everything before they say, quit, because I've seen those studies where they say they should have just stayed together, and people stay together for kids, especially younger, because if they're worried about like how the spouse is going to act with the children and they're little and they can't speak up for themselves, people are going to stay in those relationships longer.
Ugh. Yeah, it's wild to watch your world.
It is wild.
And especially too, after COVID, have you seen a spike in divorces since COVID?
Or yes, is it just because I think COVID brought out, everyone in the same house
all the time.
Yeah, the people that work from home and they both work in the same home. I mean, those marriages it's tough.
Yeah. How would you say that your career has changed the way that you love, parent, exist, have relationships?
I think you just have to cherish all of your relationships. And I think that I have suffered a lot of loss because I've lost my dad to leukemia early. He was 66. It's one of those things where you think you're going to take your parent in to get chemo and you're going to bring him home. I took both my parents into hospitals and I didn't get to bring them home. And so I had dad, and dad and mom were so connected. Like they had a lot of rough patches, but they were true to their marriage. They were, they had met together, and they were so young when they got together. And so it's really the only relationship they knew, And then a year later, mom said, because she had leukemia too, and she had a rare form of bone marrow cancer. And she says, I want to watch Cash, our oldest, graduate from high school. And so I don't want to live like this, because she was taking all these chemo pills and all these other things. And I said, well, we can try the bone marrow, transplant if you want. And she did. And then it didn't go well. And but she was lucky to find a match. And yeah, so that was just another, and then I'm also just somebody who will help people. So if anyone needs help, I'm pretty much, hey, what can I help you with? If an attorney passes away or something, I always tell the parents or whoever, I go, hey, I'll do your, thing for pro bono.
Yeah.
I'll do the administration. Or if there's officers hurt or firefighters or, nurses, when during COVID, I'm taking them donuts, it's just kind of a thing that I do.
I think one of my favorite stories that I saw that you posted was how you go and serve people in our community in need. I can't remember the specifics, but I remember there was a mom that you were checking on and the kids didn't have food. So you went and got them food.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
She had no electricity and yeah. And it was like right before Thanksgiving, I think. And yeah, it was tough.
And
they had no furniture. And she had she had like 7 kids.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking to myself, because I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with the area.
Yeah.
And I go, I wonder if there's a pizza place. Or I asked them, what do they like to eat?
Yeah.
And I went to the Little Caesars and I just got like a whole stack of pizzas. I don't think, as one of the little girls goes, I like sausage. And so I took the food back and the little girl picked off every single piece of sausage. And then she just kept stuffing it in her mouth. Like I don't know if she hadn't eaten or she was just so excited to have, probably something they don't get very often. So yeah, it was cute. And then she was just like stuffing her little face with the little sausage from the Little Caesars. Yeah.
Ugh. I think, and that's just so powerful to the character and the person you are, because there are a lot of people who'd be like, okay, well, not my problem,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
you
I
know,
was stressed.
oh yeah,
I was like, I can't leave. Like, I'm worried about these
yeah,
kids.
what do I do?
And I'm worried about the mom because she had just had a baby. I was worried about postpartum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's how those
And that's
situations
serious.
on the news show
Mhm.
up, where moms
Yeah, she was
do
at her
hard
wits'
things.
end. She had had enough. She says, I don't know how. She said to me, she was laying in bed, and she says, I don't want to feel this way, but I feel this way. And I said, well, you just need to rest. And I said, I'm going to go get you guys some food. And she was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because she's had so many children
Yeah,
in the home.
in the home. I mean, she had
Mhm.
and a new baby.
And a new baby.
I can't even
And the
imagine.
postpartum is no joke,
Yeah. Oh, postpartum. I was completely unprepared
Mhm.
for that.
Yeah.
Postpartum. I had postpartum depression with Frankie,
Did you?
and I didn't with Calvin, and there's a lot of ties now to Pitocin sparking it.
Oh, okay.
But I had never felt like that before.
Yeah. So that's, I think, what she was telling me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's
hard.
okay. Yeah, that's hard. And so I was, well, let's make sure everybody's okay.
Let's,
And
yeah,
then,
let's take one thing off.
yeah,
of
and I
your
called
plate.
the CPS investigator and then let her in the door.
Yeah.
To
Good.
make sure that, they could take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't want to call the police. I didn't
Mm-mm.
need all that. I just needed someone to listen to her, and she wanted to be heard, and she wanted to be heard about what she was going through and just kind of venting.
And seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's what we need too. Somebody to listen and to be seen.
Yep.
So Leslie, what do you want your legacy to be?
Mine?
Yeah.
Just that I've made a difference in, our community, that I've done the right thing. If somebody, ever questioned, did she do the right thing? Did she make the right choice? That I did that, and that any choice I make, that I know that it's a good one, and knowing that it's too going to affect future generations. If that's just something that I want the best for, our kids.
Yeah.
I want to leave our community a better place.
Yeah. That's amazing. Do any of your boys have an aspiration to be a lawyer?
I think my oldest, the twins are kind of figuring it out. I'm not sure.
They're still in high school, right?
They're sophomores. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the oldest is into it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's hard work. So
yeah.
And I have our oldest was diagnosed with ADHD, and so that's always a struggle, because he was that class where, the kindergarten class where they gave him Apple iPads.
Oh.
So he was that generation, he's on that level, with the phones and things
With
like
tech.
that. Yeah, the tech.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. All right. Well, last question. If somebody is in a family crisis, what do you want them to hear?
That they're not alone, that they that there's a way out, and to know that there's somebody out there that's going through it, probably the same thing you are, and to reach out for help, especially with, the loss that we have with the suicide rate being high, with the mental illness, with the people abusing, the THC and the CBD and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's altering people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And and they just need to take it day by day. And when I work with those mental health patients, I mean, those are the people that have just had it's basically a suicide attempt.
Oh yeah,
they've overdosed, or they've called, or it's a veteran and he's calling for help, and he's calling the veterans line, and then they come,
they dispatch the police.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Which is helpful, but also hard. I think, and that's a really great point. There are, especially with women, a lot of women are told not to talk, not to say anything, don't tell anybody. So they keep a lot of things to themselves and then live in fear.
Right.
And you can't really do anything logical sitting in fear.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Leslie, I am so grateful you could be here. I could listen to you talk all day. I really could.
You'll be like, I'll be sleeping in the back.
Just like, I'm just tell me more stories. And I love the work that you do. I love the person that you are. I think more people need to know you. Your name is now everywhere, and I love that. I think that you are one of the most amazing people for
You're
our
so
community.
sweet.
So I am happy to know you. I'm happy you're in my circle, and I'm happy to share it with you because I think there are a lot of people too that
Yeah.
are wondering or questioning or scared, and it's like not every family law attorney is terrifying. Not every attorney is terrifying. So
Right.
yeah,
And we've
they're
been,
good
and
people
it's
to have.
funny. Yeah. And it's funny too, because when you say, what are your work hours? You know, when you do that on your website, I'm like, well, I think it's pretty much 24/7,
Right?
you know?
Yeah, like my
'Cause
phone is on me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
somebody
if
calls.
something happens,
Yeah,
then
then you're on.
yeah, we're on.
Yeah, and that's all my sweet lawyer friends. I love that about you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh wait, nope,
Wait,
gotta go.
we gotta go. Yeah. We gotta take a call. Sorry.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
I love it. All right, friends. So I am going to include Leslie's information in the bio if you're here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. She is an excellent attorney if you are looking for one. If you are even just questioning, or if you have questions, call, because you can't make an educated decision with nothing.
Right.
Right. And she's
Absolutely.
perfect and wonderful. So
Even if you need a referral to some other kind of legal professional,
Yeah.
or, you know, like, who do you think is good for kids going through crisis? I
yeah.
have experience with boarding schools because our oldest was in the Marine Military Academy. So, you know, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Thanks, y'all. I will see you next week.